Managing a hotel was more than just a job for me, it was my entire world. I'm Grace, and this hotel was my sanctuary until he walked in. He was impossible to overlook. A young man in a suit that screamed wealth, his attention fixed on an extravagant phone. When he checked in, his smile was so disarming it could knock you off your feet. "Good evening, I'm Ethan," he said, his voice smooth as silk. "I'm here for a couple of nights. Anything interesting happening around here?" I found myself smiling back, a bit taken aback by his charm. "Well, Ethan, the city's full of surprises. It all depends on what you're looking for," I replied, handing him his key. Our conversation was brief, but there was a spark. Maybe it was his curiosity or the way he genuinely seemed to care when I spoke. He didn't stay long, but when he checked out, he left a note. "Enjoyed our talk. Care to continue it over dinner?" I hesitated, not accustomed to mixing work with my personal life, but something about him intrigued me. We met at a local restaurant, a cozy spot where the lively chatter and clinking glasses created a bubble of warmth and escape from the outside world. "You really have this place dialed in, don't you, Grace?" he said with a smile as we settled in. I laughed, feeling surprisingly comfortable. "Guess you could say I've had some practice." Dinner flew by as we talked about everything and nothing. Ethan was an open book, or so it seemed, sharing stories of his travels and investments. When the conversation turned to me, I found myself opening up more than usual, sharing about losing my parents and how it had been just Maya and me against the world since I was 21. "That's a heavy load to carry, Grace. You must be incredibly strong," he said, his eyes reflecting admiration and something else I couldn't quite place. I shrugged off the compliment. "We all play the hand we're dealt, right? Maya has been my priority. Our parents left us a little something, and I've been careful with it, making it grow bit by bit." He nodded, his expression thoughtful. "That's impressive. You've got a good head on your shoulders." As the night wore on, I realized I hadn't laughed this much in a long time. Yet whenever I tried to learn more about him and his family, he skillfully changed the subject. "My folks and I don't see eye to eye. Let's just say they have their ideas about life, and I have mine," he said, a shadow crossing his face. I didn't press further. We all have our stories and scars. As the evening drew to a close, I found myself wishing it wouldn't end. There was something about Ethan that made me feel alive in a way I hadn't in years. My life with Ethan felt like a whirlwind, each day a new adventure, every moment together filled with laughter and dreams of the future. He had a way of making the ordinary seem extraordinary, turning simple dinners into unforgettable evenings. One evening, as we sat in our favorite dimly lit cafe with its cozy corners, I said, "Ethan, I still can't believe how fast everything is moving." He reached across the table and took my hand. "Grace, when something feels right, why wait?" His eyes held mine with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. "I've never been sure of anything in my life," he continued. "I know it's all happening so quickly. It's a lot to take in." I confess, feeling a whirlpool of emotion inside me. "I get it, but trust me, Grace, I'm here for the long haul. I want to build a life with you, a future. And I want to start by making our wedding day the most memorable day of our lives." The passion and certainty in his words were hard to resist. He painted a picture of a day so lavish and beautiful it took my breath away. "Imagine it, Grace, a ceremony that no one will forget, a celebration of our love. It's going to be perfect," he said, his voice brimming with excitement. "And the honeymoon you mentioned, something about the most expensive hotel in the world?" I asked, a blend of curiosity and apprehension in my voice. His smile broadened. "Yes, it's all part of the plan, but I need you to trust me, to take this leap with me. Your savings for the wedding, my funds for the honeymoon, and our future home together. We'll make it all a reality." I hesitated, my practical side shouting for caution, but as I looked into his eyes, brimming with love and promise, I found myself nodding. "Okay, Ethan, let's do it. Let's make this wedding a day to remember." As the weeks flew by, the wedding preparations took over our lives. Ethan, a man of action, handled every detail with meticulous care, ensuring our day would be nothing short of spectacular. Watching him so full of life and determination made me fall even deeper in love. "Ethan, you're amazing," I said one evening as we reviewed the guest list and the lavish menu he'd planned. "I don't know how to thank you." He pulled me close, his arms enveloping me. "Grace, seeing you happy is all the thanks I need. This wedding is just the beginning. Our life together will be even more beautiful." Yet, amid the excitement, moments of doubt would creep in, whispering questions in the quiet of the night. Was I moving too fast? Was I getting swept up by the romance of it all? Every time these thoughts surfaced, Eakin's reassurances chased them away. His words and promises were my anchor, keeping me steady through the storm of uncertainty. The whirlwind of wedding preparations filled my days, but among the chaos of cake tastings and flower selections, I knew I needed Maya, my sister, my confidant, by my side. Since our parents passed, it had been us against the world, and her input meant everything to me, especially now. I called her, hoping she could take a break from the cafe where she worked. Hey Mia, think you can ditch the aprons and coffee smells for some tulle and satin today? I half joked, my voice tinged with hopeful anticipation. Think you can ditch the coffee stains for bridal trains today? Maya's laughter came through the phone, light and familiar. For you, sis, I'd trade coffee stains for bridal trains any day. Give me an hour to wrap things up here, and I'm all yours. The bridal shop was a wonderland of white and ivory dresses, cascading like waterfalls of lace and silk. As I tried on gowns, Maya's presence was a calming force amidst the storm of satin and sequins. That one, Grace, she said, her eyes lighting up as I stepped out of the dressing room in a gown that felt just right. It's like it was made for you. I studied my reflection. The dress hugged every curve and flowed to the floor in a sea of soft fabric. Do you think I look, I don't know, like a real bride? I asked, a smile creeping onto my lips. Maya's grin matched mine, but I noticed a fleeting shadow cross her face, quick and troubling. Before I could ask, she was up, pulling a dress off the rack. Mind if I give this one a whirl? Just for kicks, she said, holding up a stunning gown that shimmered with every movement. I laughed, a mix of surprise and delight. Planning on eloping, or is there a mystery man you've been hiding from me? Maya's laugh, usually carefree, held a note of something I couldn't quite place. Oh, Grace, you know me, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. But a girl can dream, can't she? She quipped, though her gaze darted away, hiding something. The day continued, a blend of laughter and whispers of silk, but Maya's mood seemed to change abruptly. Her usual bubbly demeanor was marred by moments of distraction. Everything okay, Mia? You seem a bit off today, I asked gently, concern threading through my words. She waved off my concern with a dismissive gesture. It's nothing, really, just cafe chaos, you know how it gets, she assured me, but her forced smile didn't quite reach her eyes. As we left the bridal shop, the weight of her unspoken secret seemed to hang between us, an unspoken tension that neither of us could quite navigate. I want to believe Maya's behavior was just pre-wedding stress or maybe a spat with a troublesome customer, but a nagging feeling in my gut told me it was something more. That night, as I lay in bed, the excitement of finding the perfect dress was overshadowed by the puzzle that was Maya's behavior. She had always been an open book to me, yet now there were pages I couldn't read, words hidden just out of sight. With the wedding day approaching, the joy I should have been feeling was tainted by a worry I couldn't shake. Maya and I had faced everything together, but now it felt like a growing gap was forming, filled with secrets and unasked questions. Little did I know, the answers to those questions were about to turn my world upside down. It was a day like any other, or so I thought, until Ethan left his phone buzzing and forgotten on the kitchen counter. As I tidied up the apartment, the constant notifications from his phone became a persistent reminder that something was amiss. The lack of a password was surprising, but nothing compared to the shock that awaited me inside the messages. The exchange between Ethan and Maya was a punch to the gut, each word a betrayal that tore through my heart. They weren't just having an affair. They were planning to push me aside as if I were nothing, as if all the years of sisterhood with Maya meant less than dirt under their shoes. I read and reread Maya's message, which confessed her pregnancy with Ethan's child. The words blurred as tears clouded my vision. Can't believe we pulled this off. She's such a fool, falling for every lie. And now with the baby, we can finally be together, just as we planned. The world around me seemed to spin, a carousel of deceit and treachery. Ethan's reply was no better, declaring his love for Mia and his eagerness to see me humiliated and ousted from my own wedding. She's just a knave cash cow. Can't wait to get rid of her and start our real life together. This wedding will be perfect thanks to her money. I sat there, the phone heavy in my hand, a storm of emotions raging within me. Betrayal, anger, disbelief, all fighting for dominance. But above all, a cold determination began to take root. They thought they could use me, discard me like an old toy. I'd show them the price of underestimating Grace Anderson. When Ethan returned, his carefree demeanor was like a slap in the face. "Hey babe, did I miss any important calls?" he asked casually, picking up his phone. I forced a smile, my insides burning with anger. "Nope, just the usual stuff." "Busy day," I replied, keeping my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. Ethan flashed that charming smile, the one I now knew was nothing but a facade. "But nothing's more important than coming back to you," he said, leaning in for a kiss. I had to restrain myself from recoiling. From that moment on, I played the part of the oblivious fiancé to perfection. I smiled, nodded, and went along with the wedding plans, all while secretly plotting my revenge. Behind the scenes, I meticulously planned my retaliation against the two people who had betrayed me in the worst possible way. Each passing day was a test of my will, a balancing act between maintaining the facade I had to uphold and the fury that burned within me. I wouldn't let them see me falter. I'd bide my time, and when the moment was right, they'd discover the true cost of their treachery. Every night as I lay in bed, the image of Ethan and Maya's deceitful faces was etched into my mind. I made a silent vow that they would pay for what they had done, and their twisted game would be their undoing. I was no longer just the jilted fiancé, I was the architect of their downfall. My revenge would be meticulous, calculated, and oh so sweet. The days leading up to the wedding felt surreal. On the surface, everything seemed perfect: the flowers, the guest list, the dress. But beneath the facade of perfection, a storm brewed, a tempest of anger and betrayal that I kept tightly contained. Ethan remained blissfully unaware of the storm he was about to sail into. "Grace, everything's coming together so beautifully. This wedding is going to be the talk of the town," he said one evening as we reviewed the final preparations. I nodded, my smile meticulously rehearsed and polished. "Yes, it's going to be a day to remember," I replied, infusing my words with a layer of meaning that Ethan couldn't possibly grasp. Facing Mia was harder. The sister I had loved and protected now seemed like a stranger. Each of her words and gestures was a constant reminder of her betrayal. Yet I kept my mask firmly in place, maintaining the facade of a loving sister blissfully unaware of the knife she had plunged into my back. "Grace, you're handling everything so well. I don't know how you do it," Maya said one day as we finalized the seating arrangements. I looked at her, the sister I thought I knew, and forced a laugh. "Oh, Mia, you know me, always had a knack for organizing chaos," I said, the irony of the statement not lost on me. As the wedding day drew closer, the tension became almost palpable. I walked a tightrope of precision and care, balancing between the role I had to play and the fury that simmered beneath the surface. Ethan's phone was now always guarded, his conversations hushed and hurried. But it didn't matter. I had seen enough and knew enough. The morning of the wedding dawned clear and bright, a perfect day for a beautiful disaster. As I got ready, the reflection in the mirror showed a bride serene and poised. But beneath the veil and makeup was a woman on a mission determined not to be a pawn in someone else's game. "Maya's running late, huh?" Ethan remarked casually as he adjusted his tie. I met his gaze in the mirror, my eyes betraying nothing. "Yes, but she'll be here. Wouldn't miss it for the world," I replied, the double meaning clear in my voice. He nodded, oblivious to the undercurrents. "Well, she's always been a bit unpredictable, but today's about us, Grace. Our new beginning." I turned to face him, my smile a flawless mask of composure. "Yes, Ethan, a new beginning indeed," I said, my heart steeling itself for what was to come. As I walked down the aisle, the eyes of friends and family on me, I knew the calm before the storm was over. The reckoning was about to begin. The vows awaited, the guests watched with smiles and teary eyes, and the stage was set. It was time for the truth to come crashing down and for the real show to begin. Standing next to Ethan in front of the priest, my heart was a mix of hope and trepidation. The words of the vows hovered in the air, a promise of forever that was about to be shattered in the most brutal way. Then the unimaginable happened. Maya, dressed in a bridal gown that mirrored my own, stormed down the aisle. Her eyes locked onto mine, not with sisterly love but with a cold determination that sent a chill down my spine. "Move aside, Grace. I'm the one who deserves to be here. Ethan loves me, and this child. I'm carrying his child," Maya declared, her voice slicing through the stunned silence. The room erupted into whispers and gasps as guests exchanged bewildered looks, their confusion palpable. Rather than displaying any sign of shock or remorse, Ethan broke into a hearty laugh. his true nature slipping through his polished facade. "Well said, Mia. Grace, you've been a gracious host, but your role ends here. Why don't you take a seat with the audience? This is Mia's moment now," he announced, his tone dripping with mockery and contempt. The audacity of their betrayal, so public and cruel, sent a jolt through the crowd. But as the gravity of the situation sank in, my response shocked everyone, including myself. I looked at Ethan, then at Mia, and smiled. Of course, why not? I wouldn't want to miss the show. After all, I did pay for it, I said, my voice steady and calm, betraying none of the turmoil roiling inside me. Maya and Ethan exchanged a confused glance, clearly taken aback by my composed response. The guests were equally baffled, their eyes darting between us as they tried to make sense of the surreal scene unfolding before them. As I gracefully took a seat among the guests, my head held high, the whispers grew louder. What's she up to? Is she really going to let this happen? The questions buzzed around the room like a swarm of bees, but I remained serene, a statue amid the chaos. Ethan and Mia, now standing together at the altar, looked unnerved. My calm demeanor had disrupted their plan to humiliate and discard me, not unfolding as they had anticipated. "What's your game, Grace? Why are you so calm?" Ethan asked, his voice a mix of curiosity and concern. I met Ethan's gaze, my smile unwavering. "No game, Ethan, just enjoying the fruits of my labor. Please proceed. I'm eager to see how this unfolds," I replied, my words smooth yet edged with hidden menace. The ceremony continued, but the atmosphere had irrevocably shifted. Guests observed with a mix of shock and anticipation, unsure if they were witnessing a wedding or the prelude to a dramatic reckoning. As Maya and Ethan exchanged vows, their words felt hollow, a mockery of the sacred promises they were supposed to represent. Surrounded by friends and family struggling to grasp the spectacle before them, I knew this was just the beginning. The real show was yet to come, and Maya and Ethan, in their arrogance and deceit, had unwittingly secured front row seats to their own downfall. As the priest asked if anyone objected, the doors burst open. A woman, older and wearier than either Ethan or Mia, stormed in, her eyes blazing with fury. "Stop this wedding right now," she demanded, her voice slicing through the silence like a knife. Ethan's face turned ashen, his eyes widening in shock. "Catherine, what are you doing here?" he stammered, his facade of the perfect groom slipping away. Catherine, Ethan's legal wife, as I had discovered, marched up to the altar. "I'm here to stop you from making a bigger fool of yourself and these people." "Grace, you deserve to know the truth," she said, casting a sympathetic look my way. The room buzzed with murmurs, the scandal unfolding before them more riveting than any soap opera. Maya clutched her stomach, her face a mask of shock and fear. Catherine's voice was firm and clear. "Ethan is a liar and a cheat. He's in debt up to his ears, his investments have failed, and he's been using you all to dig himself out of his mess. And Mia, you poor girl, you're just another pawn in his game." The room erupted into chaos, guests rising from their seats as whispers grew louder. Ethan tried to speak, but his words were drowned out by the uproar. I stood up, my heart pounding, but my voice remained steady. "There's more," I announced, silencing the room. "I hired a private detective after discovering Ethan and Maya's affair. Not only is Ethan already married and drowning in debt, but he's also been hiding a daughter, a child he has never supported." Maya's face crumpled, the weight of her situation crashing down around her. "Ethan, is this true? Tell me she's lying," she pleaded, her voice breaking. Ethan, now pale and defeated, had no words. His lies and deceit were laid bare for everyone to see. But the final blow was yet to come. As the guests processed the revelations, Ethan's parents, two stern and imposing figures, entered the room. I had reached out to Ethan's parents, revealing everything, and now they were here to confront the son who had disgraced their name. Ethan's father, a man of few words, spoke with a voice heavy with disappointment and anger. "Ethan, you are no son of mine. Your actions today and in the past have exposed your true character. You were cut off from our family and our fortune." As the room fell into uneasy silence, I took in the sight of Ethan, Mia, and the shattered dreams they had tried to build on deceit. The pain of betrayal still throbbed in my heart, but amidst the ruins of what was meant to be my happiest day, I knew this was not the end of my story. In the aftermath, I found myself navigating the cold halls of justice, seeking reparation for the damage Ethan had inflicted. The courtroom felt like a different world. where my pain and humiliation were reduced to legal jargon and paperwork. Ethan, you haven't just broken a promise, you shattered trust and exploited generosity. You owe me more than an apology. You owe me compensation for turning my life upside down, and declared firmly, my voice echoing in the quiet courtroom. The judge's gavel sounded like thunder in the tense silence. The court finds in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is hereby ordered to pay $50,000 in damages for the distress and financial loss caused, he declared, his words a balm to my wounded spirit. As I walked out of the courtroom, the burden of the past months felt lighter. Justice had been served, but the road to healing was just beginning. Ethan's troubles didn't end with me. Catherine, his legal wife, driven by hurt and fury, launched her own legal battle, demanding compensation for his infidelity and neglect of their child. The once suave and competent man was now ensnared in a web of his own making, his lies and deceit finally catching up with him. Mia, my sister, who had once been the person I trusted most, found herself alone and abandoned. Ethan had fled the city, leaving her to face the fallout of their actions. Pregnant and scared, she was a far cry from the carefree and happy girl she once was. Grace, I know I don't have the right to ask for your forgiveness, but I'm lost and I don't know what to do, Maya pleaded one day, her eyes filled with tears. I looked at her, the sister I once would have done anything for. Maya, you were my family, my blood, but what you did isn't something I can just forget or forgive. You chose your path, and now you have to walk it, just as I'm walking mine. The distance between us was more than physical. It was a chasm filled with betrayal and hurt too wide and too deep to ever bridge again. Life moved on, but the scars of those tumultuous months remained. I focused on rebuilding my life, finding peace in the simple things. I had loved and lost, trusted and been betrayed, but through it all, I had survived. As I looked back on everything that had happened, I realized that the most important journey was the one I was taking within myself. A journey of healing, rediscovering my strength, and learning to trust and love again.